Hello everyone, huge thank you for joining our webinar today at the Summer Virtual Adtech Festival. I'm sorry this isn't on an actual beach, but the pastel shirt, chino shorts and boat shoes I'm wearing is really giving me the same vibe. I'm only joking, as with all video calls, I'm actually sitting in my pants. So, today we take a look at why we game. What are the driving factors for the recent spike in gaming during lockdown? We're going to share our insight into the multifaceted world of gaming. We look at who is playing, why they are playing, and why tapping into gaming should be at the very top of brands' minds. So just a quick introduction. My name is Jermaine. I'm the sales director at Venatus. For those who aren't familiar with us, Venatus is a global advertising technology platform focused on gaming and entertainment. And we have the pleasure of working with the most fantastic range of gaming publishers in the market, from mobile gaming giants like Rovio, who are great for kids games, all the way to esports experts like Gfinity, who are bringing the pro gamer community into the mainstream. With more people gaming than ever before, it's time we took gaming seriously. So today's agenda. First, we're going to do a bit of a recap of the last 3 months in gaming and take a look at how our industry has made the headlines yet again. Then we're going to take a look at the reasons why we're gaming. What is it about the lockdown in particular that is driving people to game? We'll take a look at the gaming landscape and see how gamers have matured over the years. And then we're going to finish by exploring the reasons why brands need to invest more in this industry. We've got some examples of how it's currently being done and some ideas for how brands can maximize their chances of reaching this elusive audience. If at any point you have some questions, please just use the Q&A function and we'll get to them at the end of the presentation. So it's March 2020, COVID has hit and the world has gone into lockdown. Our normal routines have come to an end and all the shops, theatres, cinemas, hairdressers, pubs, clubs, gyms and even cafes have shut. Everyone around the globe is restricted to being at home, with the UK being one of the lucky nations allowed a whole hour outside. But if you're like me and you're allergic to any form of exercise, then we're all stuck at home for the foreseeable and our options for entertainment are severely narrowed. So during this difficult time, it's been great to hear gaming hitting the news positively. I'm one of the many who will say gaming has really helped me keep my sanity over this period. Over the last 3 months, gaming has been providing me a lot of joy in a time of need, keeping you occupied, entertained and distracted whilst you're locked up at home with little to do. It's got to the point where games consoles are in short supply, with everybody jumping on the popularity of entertaining yourself at home by investing in gaming. Spending on video game hardware surged by 73% in April to $1.5 billion. So forget toilet paper, bagging yourself a Nintendo Switch and a Ring Fit was the true pandemic challenge. I've been speaking to non-endemic brands for many years about how they're missing out on a serious opportunity if they're not in the gaming space. So hearing the FMCG brands were evolving their advertising in the wake of lockdown was music to my ears. And I was really happy to be part of a piece in The Grocer a couple of months ago that explored how to get into gaming. And it's safe to say, our industry is giving brands something to think about. It is the most diverse yet untapped audience across the advertising landscape. There's social distancing in place and so many different ways to get into gaming. It's only natural to see a huge spike in gameplay, but we didn't expect it to be so big. Lockdown has acted as a massive accelerant to gaming, with people staying indoors and finding ways to keep entertained. And since the pandemic began, the numbers across the board have been spiking. For instance, at Venatus, we saw a 74% increase in active users across our desktop publishers, with people spending more time than ever on our sites. In terms of retail, the industry saw a 35% rise in video games in March, much of it by digital download, but I will personally be forever grateful to Amazon, who really helped us with those essential items like Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal at a time of need. A time of need which consisted of me getting away from my missus and my baby for at least 30 minutes. Steam, the PC gaming platform, also recorded an all-time high of 20 million concurrent users in March. And Twitch, the video game streaming platform, saw 1.5 billion gaming hours watched in April, which is a 50% increase since March. and that one's for free Twitch. It's all about love here. And with more and more people starting to tire of Tiger King, Michael Jordan, and Joe Wicks' YouTube workouts, esports viewership has gone through the roof. With the ESL Pro League saying that they had their most successful season in the competition's history, with up to 500,000 concurrent viewers. Who needs real sport? The stage is set for a new type of athlete. With video game usage going up by 75% since the quarantine first went into effect, we know that gaming is more popular than ever, but let's explore why. In March, the World Health Organization advised that gaming was a good way to pass the time during the corona pandemic. So in conjunction with developers such as Activision and Riot Games, they created the Play Apart Together campaign, which called for people to stay at home and continue their social interaction together, but online through games. Is this the only reason that we saw a huge spike in lockdown? Or are there more deep-seated reasons for why we play games? Let's have a little look at the reasons why we were so drawn to gaming during the pandemic. During lockdown, gaming has come to the rescue for many different people, whether they be pros, casual gamers, lapsed gamers, or even people new to gaming entirely. Escapism is a massive reason to get into games. Gaming properly helps us escape from reality, and we can be free to be whoever we want to be in our gaming world. And in times like this, we need it more than ever. This is where RPGs really excel. And for the non-gamers out there, an RPG is otherwise known as a role-playing game. So you take control of a character and you often have complete freedom how you want to achieve your objectives. Slowly you're growing your character in an often a huge open world environment. So for instance, I've been playing No Man's Sky again. It's a game classed as a survival simulator, but the basic premise is to explore the galaxy at your own pace. They start you on a planet with nothing but your spacesuit, your wits, and getting off that inexplicable ball of rock requires you to find the ship, fix it up using nothing but the minerals around you, and then embarking on a journey that is entirely on your own liking. Are you happy on this barren ice moon? Or do you want to invest some serious time in searching the near endless galaxies in the very slim hope of discovering an Earth-like habitable world? So I've played this game on and off for about 4 years, and I've clocked an embarrassing like 300 hours of gameplay. And can I just say that this Monday was actually the first time I've ever found an Earth-like planet. No joke, I was so happy my missus let me have the TV for the whole night, just so I could build like a new base on it. It's amazing. But during this lockdown, this is the type of freedom you crave. And No Man's Sky is but one of many excellent RPGs in the market, which is set to grow from 15 million now to $20 million by 2023, with COVID-19 likely to be a key driver behind this growth. COVID has been tough on anxiety, with over 19 million Brits reporting high levels of anxiety during lockdown. Gaming has been great at giving people some degree of control during a time that there is no control. And the psychological benefits of this are staggering. So take Sims, for example. Building a dream home and crafting characters in The Sims gives you the sense that you could create a world and have complete control over it. I'm talking every single little decision in that world, like what shops are in the town, what do the houses look like, which of my Sims shall I make have children? And seriously, as a new father, can I just advise those hardcore Sims fans to maybe wait just a little bit? I mean, it's got to the point that there's a whole subreddit culture on how people have tortured their Sims by doing things like building a room with no windows and seeing how long it takes for them to go crazy. I'm not joking. I mean, the reason people enjoy these world building games is it makes you feel like the world makes sense and it's governed by like rules that you can understand. Right now in real life, the perception we have of things being orderly and making sense has been completely disrupted. So at least in the game, we have continuity and the ability to make decisions and meet goals, and that gives you a massive sense of achievement. Another game I'm playing at the moment is 2 Point Hospital. It's a hospital business management simulator, and it's a re-release of the classic 1997 game Theme Hospital, which some of you may remember. It's crazy, but as the NHS became more swamped, I had the inexplicable urge to get involved. So I actually looked at this game to get a sense of the amount of work that goes into running a successful hospital. As you can see, from escapism to control, The fact that gaming can meet these two demands demonstrates the breadth of gaming categories and the genres available to you. So gaming is the original form of social distancing. And since COVID, gaming has provided us with a social network. Multiplayer games have become a lot more popular as people look for experiences that they can share with their friends from a safe distance. In March, a game called Warzone was released. It's a version of Call of Duty that follows in the same suit as Fortnite, giving people access to the full game for free and only making money through in-game microtransactions. The game released right at the start of the pandemic, and in its first month, its monthly users rose to 62.7 million, which is an increase of 159%. I mean, it's not alone. Even online, the Space MMO, that saw also a 50% rise in players in April. And their CEO, Hilmar Pettersson, actually made a really good point. He said Netflix and all that are good for passing time, but it doesn't really give you a social context. And people at the moment are craving a social context. And a good example is the new Animal Crossing game from Nintendo. It's a social simulation game where up to 8 different people can live and build on the same island. And users are encouraged to visit friends' islands. It was released when the lockdown started, and is a game that you can get into even if you're not a gamer, with reports of people spending birthday parties and other activities in person that they do normally in person, actually in this game. So it's no wonder that it's sold out instantly. And to give you another example of the power of social gaming, Venatus has been hosting an online FIFA league to connect with our clients while Thirsty Thursday media drinks are postponed. And it's a great way to keep connected, have fun, and socialize. Mobile gaming is extremely accessible. And it's no surprise that during COVID, we saw a 76% increase in mobile gaming sessions. In advertising, mobile very much used to be seen as an activity that was only on the go. It was something you did while you're waiting to get your lunch or to occupy yourself during a public transit commute. But the massive surge we've recently seen has really debunked that myth. Google Play and Apple Store give you instant access to a vast array of games to fit all demographics. And at the beginning of lockdown, there was a 40% increase in game downloads. And that's everything from multiplayer games to word and card games. It really just depends on the person. And it's not only mobile. I mean, have a think of the plethora of different devices you can now play on. There's PC, PS4, Xbox One, Stadia, Nintendo, and all of them have an inbuilt digital distribution system. So it's easy access to a wide catalogue of games without even having to visit a physical store. And if you don't fancy actually playing games, you don't have to. Maybe you don't have the time, or maybe you just want to see how the pros do it. But you can easily access gaming streams on the likes of Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. So in summary, what we found is gaming didn't actually need to adapt to quarantine. It was already fit for the purpose. So whilst we've explored why gaming may have spiked during lockdown, I think there's a lot more to it. And the truth is, gaming is no longer the preserve of the anti-social geeky stereotype. It's a mainstream cultural passion point, overtaking sport in the hearts of many 18 to 34-year-olds. It provides a way of connecting with old friends, making new friends, and bonding over a shared passion. If you ask me, would the lockdown really start a gaming craze? I'd say it's been around for ages and it's not going anywhere. Lockdown or not, we need to understand this is a passionate audience who will continue to game long after the lockdown ends. The question is, where does gaming begin? How can we be ahead of the curve? I actually thought it'd be a really nice exercise now, would be to ask you guys, what were the first consoles you ever owned? So if you want to drop me an answer in the chat, because I'm pretty interested in seeing what kind of type of gamers we've got in the call. Have a quick look at the answers. Game Boy Color. Nice. Game Boy. Oh, I've seen quite a few Game Boys come out. Strong. Sega Mega Drive. Nice. Very similar. I mean, the reason I ask is that it's a really good way to judge the audience. You can tell a lot about someone without their first games console. Here I am with mine. We have to remember where gamers come from. I think whilst the lockdown has brought gaming to the attention of many brands, it's better not to think of it as a new fad. It's been around for ages. And there are many games coming back into gaming these days that are lapsed players who were previously too busy to find the time to get back into the swing of things. I'm certainly in this category. I've got a busy job, a dog, and a 4-month little baby girl who needs my attention. But this wasn't always the case. That insanely smug, carefree looking face sitting holding the Mega Drive 2 pad is yours truly, back when I had a lot more hair. This was an age where playing games wasn't quite so cool as it was nowadays. It was an age where massively multiplayer wasn't a thing unless you had some really, really long cables. It was an age where we didn't have esports tournaments, and there was no such thing as watching someone else stream unless you were creeping over their shoulder in an arcade. Back in 1992, having a console made you part of an elite squad of cool cats that didn't mind the fact that the world were calling them nerds, as they loved playing games. Well, we live in a very, very different time these days. And whilst in 1995 there were only 100 million gamers on the planet, the market these days is very different indeed. Now, there are roughly 2.1 billion gamers on the planet in 2020. And Newzoo actually reported that this number is set to grow to 3 billion by 2023. It's not the uncool thing to do at school anymore. And the gamers these days are very much akin to the jocks rather than the geeks in the classroom. Kids' games are loved by adults and kids alike. For instance, Rovio, creator of the ever-popular Angry Birds franchise, has had over 4.5 billion downloads of its game. And many a parent has been roped into either a Pokemon Go or Harry Potter Wizards Unite marathon, depending on what's your tipple. Due to the accessibility, gaming starts a lot earlier than it did back in my day. By 3 years old, there are a great selection of pre-education games to be played on the phone and the tablet. And by the time kids are 7, most of them own their own phone with an even more extensive library of games to play. It's truly a beautiful age. Afro Mini-Me would have loved it. These days, games such as Fortnite are played with all your classmates, extending that after-school playground experience to online. Kids look up to a new type of hero these days. A hero like Carl Gersdorf, who in one night gave parents across the land a massive headache by winning the Fortnite World Cup at 16, bagging himself a tidy $3 million and proving to the world that playing Fortnite for 6 hours a day could still amount to something. I mean, it makes sense that brands are turning to games like Fortnite as a way to be able to reach young people. In April, rapper Travis Scott, in collaboration with Nike, performed an in-game virtual concert in Fortnite, which drew in more than 12 million players, an all-time record for an in-game event. But why are artists and movies turning to gaming platforms? Because gaming is bigger than music and TV combined. You can't reach the youth on traditional media because they don't consume it. The fast evolving tech landscape means that it's getting even harder for brands to reach younger consumers, as linear TV is no longer popular amongst young people, with 70% of 21 to 25-year-olds watching less than 6 hours of TV a week these days. So it pays to keep attention focused on where gaming is going. We've turned something that was originally a hobby into something which can be now classed as a career. And one of the unavoidable side effects of COVID was the world of traditional sport grinding to a halt. But with every dark cloud, there is a silver lining, as this provided an opportunity for esports to show it can attract mainstream audiences. Esports embraced its moment to replace traditional TV and traditional sport on TV, with broadcasts of F1, NASCAR, and NBA hitting our screens. Esports has done much for the industry and has really helped to turn around the perceptions of gaming. These players and teams have become the new celebrities and influencers for many youngsters. With that in mind, marketing really needs to start treating gamers in the same way they do sports fans. I mean, sports fans are passionate about their team, but they don't just go to the event. They follow their club on social, they watch the videos on YouTube, they read the transfer news on websites, and they share content amongst their friends. The advertising investment in sport is huge, and gaming is ready to be treated in the same light. More brands need to be lining up to do an event or to be around websites that gamers frequent, and to be a part of the plethora of content and video opportunities in the market. Marketers need to understand that gaming is resilient. It survived in economic recessions, and during COVID, it proved to be one of the few industries to still be doing well. You no longer even need a console to get into gaming, with publishers investing more than ever on bringing console favorites such as Call of Duty and Fortnite to the mobile audience. So if gaming is nothing new, then why is gaming investment in its infancy? This resilient industry is worth $159 billion this year, and that number is set to grow to $200 billion in 2023. But capitalizing on this audience is difficult, so demand is still tepid. But here are some key reasons why marketers really need to embrace gaming. The scale is insane, and it's only getting bigger. Newzoo predicted there to be over 2.7 billion gamers worldwide by the end of 2020. And if that number is familiar, it's because it was the password to enter this webinar. Bonus point to anyone who noticed. I mean, the fact remains that gaming is now bigger than music and TV combined. And as more games like The Last of Us 2 are released, blurring the line between film and game, it's interesting to see where this industry might go. The range of audiences getting into gaming is staggering, with everything from preschool to the elderly enjoying it. So if you're not present in gaming, you brands are missing out on a huge chunk of the population. Another reason you need to get into gaming is it's a lean forward audience. They are hugely passionate about their hobby and they couldn't be more engaged. Time and time again, I've seen gaming results beat out the industry average in terms of VTRs, CTRs, engagement, which I think really speaks volume about the mindset of our users. They want to be reached in a playful and exciting way. Another benefit of gaming is we have a myriad of creative executions available to you, from reward video to in-game, display, rich media, video, or even sponsorships across multiple different devices. You're reaching gamers in a fun, engaging environment. So using mini games and interactive units resonate incredibly well with this audience while offering you great brand engagement. In a world where fake news is rife and marketers are pulling social ad spend from the likes of Facebook, we're lucky that there's so much brand safe content to choose from within gaming. Whether it be streams, review sites, help guide sites, or an offline event, gaming gives you access to a constantly evolving story, and it's incredibly granular. I mean, there's a gaming website for literally anything. For instance, knockazoon.com was recently created to provide a safe and trustworthy platform connecting Animal Crossing players to make in-game trades and craft their dream islands. It started in April and has since grown to over 50 million users worldwide. The rapid pace of our industry means sites like this can be secret gems you may never have heard of, but want to be a part of, as the world obsesses over the latest popular game. Remember when everybody was talking about Words with Friends or Pokemon Go? Gamers are fickle, but you can't say that we're not trendsetters. Gaming is multi-platform. So many touch points get ignored. So when people consider advertising as a channel, in-game and those big Fortnite executions are usually the first thing we get asked for. But you have to think outside the box a little bit, and there are much more straightforward ways to be able to reach the player that you're after. So say we're trying to reach FIFA players. Instead of an in-game ad, why don't we replicate the traditional football halftime slot advertising on one of the FIFA streams? Better yet, why not sponsor an already existing online event like the FIFA E-World Cup? Or create one of your own like the Gfinity and Challenge can do? Or if you wanted to reach them when they're on the move, why not look into FIFA Mobile? I'm not a huge FIFA player, but I hear Ultimate Team is the best part of it. Your team is boosted by in-game card packs that contain a set of players you can add to your own very personal squad, which you then use to compete in online matches. So it pays to have the most perfect balance. And if you want to build the most competitive team in history, then it's very likely you'll have to use a website like footbin.com as a help guide. It's a huge site, but like knockazoon.com, not many people know about it. So for marketers looking to tap into gaming, you don't need to host a concert in Fortnite to reach gaming audiences. There are so many avenues available to you. Gaming's only going to get bigger. According to the recent GWI study, 77% of millennials and 57% of Gen Zers who are gaming more as a result of COVID say they will continue to do so after the outbreak. The games that we played as kids are now being turned into films, from Sonic the Hedgehog to Pikachu. It's becoming more than just a game at this point. So to conclude, whether you're aware of it or not, gaming has been a part of our lives since we were kids. It is omnipresent, from the celebrities we see in the press to films, music, books, toys, and even fancy dress. Gaming is a social channel, a video platform, a career, and a source of much loved entertainment for 2.1 billion of us. So don't dismiss gaming as a side effect of COVID. Gaming was here before, and it will be here long after. And that's it for today's presentation. Thank you very much for listening to me. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Give me a second, I'll get some questions up. Right, so look at the questions that are coming in. Woo. Busy, busy. Good. Lots of questions. Right, first question, which brands, type of brands would you like to see getting involved with gaming? Well, pretty much all brands. I don't know if you heard the presentation. There's pretty much a place for everyone in gaming. You know, whether it is you're a fan of Sims, you're a fan of Call of Duty, or you're just a fan of solitaire. You know, the age range is ridiculous. You've got everything from 3-year-olds all the way up to 80+-year-olds. And after this prezzo, I'm expecting the phone to blow up, actually, with everyone to be looking to advertise from everything from toys to P&O cruises. Right, no questions. It's a funny question. PS5 or Xbox? I'll take that. So I've always been a PlayStation boy. But I actually had the PS1 back in the day. I was one of those people that said buy the Sega Saturn instead of a PS1, so I really did back the wrong horse on that one. But the PS5 has me hugely excited, and no doubt that I will be picking it up. Although if Xbox come out with some crazy exclusives, it might be worth a purchase too. Another question we have, how can I safely reach kids in gaming environments? It's a very good question. So you need to find the right type of games with the right demographics. You know, there's a teeny bit of crossover with the adult audience, but that's great because pest to power is important. You have to be really careful in your approach. You know, you have to be aware of GDPR and compliancy in your communications. So a lot of things like reviewing the call to actions, like getting rid of buy now buttons, no tracking, and, you know, making simple but effective engaging ads is kind of how you do it. What performs better, in-game advertising or reaching in gaming environments, e.g. gaming news sites? It's good. So it really does depend on your objectives. You know, it depends on you know, what the KPIs of the plan, you know, for instance, reward video is great for building a value exchange. And if you want them to click into something, it's also very good. In-game is great, but I do think it kind of does really kind of depend on, you know, what objectives of the plan are. You know, it's also really good to get into the mindset of users when they are in that educational mindset. So say they're browsing a website because they're researching something that they really enjoy. It's a really good opportunity for you to then reach them. Is that it? I do believe so. Yeah. So it's been a pleasure talking to you guys about why we game. If you do need to know any more, please reach out at sales@venatusmedia.com or pop me an email or pop us a message on one of our social channels. Thank you guys. Take care.